Daryl Moose Johnston in an NFL on Fox booth analyst, as well as a Super Bowl champion many times over, who is here also to talk about the relaunch of Ticket IQ here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Daryl?
I'm good, Rich. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Tell me if I'm crazy. I just said the Dallas Cowboys not only win the NFC East, but they win it by 2 games and make the NFC Championship game. Am I crazy?
Well, I think you've bought into the theory that this team will represent more of what the 2014 team was, opposed to the 2015 team, which I think is kind of a strange question to begin with, because if you don't have Tony Romo and Des Bryant for as many games as they missed last year, obviously there's going to be a significant impact. But I do think that there were some other issues with the Cowboys that showed themselves last year. With those 2 guys out of the lineup, they're probably able to overcome a lot of those issues with Des and Tony in the lineup. But I agree with you. I keep telling everybody that Dallas has to be the favorite in the NFC East, and you've taken it a step further and said that they'll represent the NFC, or they'll be in the NFC Championship.
I think that they win playoff games. Well, let's put it this way. I think they win enough games to maybe even get a bye and win once and get in the NFC Championship game, because I just, I think a lot of people still think about the Romo who went to Cabo, the Romo who wanted to be in the U.S. Open, the Romo who Jerry Jones said, I want him to be like Peyton Manning, first in the building, last one out. Romo has become a true veteran of the elite status from what I've seen personally and what I've heard as well. Moose, what have you heard about Romo?
I would agree with you there. I think the commitment in the offseason, I think once the back happened, I think that there was a shift in his preparation throughout the offseason. And everybody talked about the injuries that he had last year. Those are broken collarbones. When you have a 295-pound guy tuck your shoulder and land on you, something's got to give. It's going to be your shoulder or your collarbone. So those are just part of the game. But from a management standpoint and being healthy, I think he's probably as good or the best he's been since he's been in the NFL. And I'll also agree with you that throughout his career, I don't think he's gotten the credit that he's deserved. When he has had one of those really good seasons, there's been something else that's gone on in the NFL at the quarterback spot. I mean, one year he had just a fantastic year. His TD to interception ratio was something ridiculous, like 34-9. And yet you had 3 other quarterbacks throw for over 5,000 yards. So you had Manning, Brady, and Stafford go over 5,000, and everybody talked about that. And Tony had a tremendous year and didn't get a lot of credit, and I think that's happened to him a couple of times. And, people, I do think people go back to early in his career, and he's a much different person right now. He really is. I think you're spot on with that analysis that the Tony Romo we see the last couple of years is a much different player in many regards to the Tony Romo that first came into the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys.
And all that said, of course, with the game tonight in Seattle, Romo being in that building, everyone's going to bring up the snap at least once or twice. We'll see that as part of the coverage, I'm sure.
What's the over-under on that one?
I know. I'll always take the over on that, obviously, with Dallas and Seattle. A game, again, you could see on the NFL Network tonight live at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm with Daryl Johnston here on the Rich Eisen Show. The Cowboys really going to go into the season with Dak Prescott, raw rookie, as a backup to Romo? Do you think, Daryl?
I don't think so. If you listen to what Jason Garrett has said throughout his tenure, if you look at what has happened while Jason Garrett has been the head coach, it's always been a veteran backup. Now Dak Prescott has impressed, and you can make excuses, you can say what you want. He's got a lot of time with starters, with very very good skill players around him. He's had the best opportunity to have success of any of the rookie quarterbacks in this class. Those things are true. But he's taken advantage of that situation. I think his location with the football has been very good. I think his poise and confidence has been very good. And I think the best comment that I've heard so far is Wade Wilson, the quarterback coach, asked Travis Frederick and Zach Martin, how was Dak in the huddle? How were his mechanics? How was his enunciation? They said it was very good, very poised again, very composed, good with his enunciation. The huddle mechanics were good. And when you're a college quarterback coming out of a spread to the NFL, it's one of the things that you have to get used to that a lot of people don't really put into the equation. So some of those little things, I think Dak is ahead of his progress point right now because of the reps that he's got with Tony being monitored so closely.
So I guess give me the Achilles heel of this team outside of injuries. We already saw it last year. But outside injuries, everyone's healthy. What's the Achilles heel for the Dallas Cowboys 2016 in your mind?
Not enough pressure off the edge. Right now, that seems to be the big weak spot for me with the Cowboys. Now pass defense is a combination of pressure and coverage. I think Dallas will be good inside at the defensive tackle spot, but off the edge, I think they're going to struggle to get pressure, so it'll be up to Rod Marinelli to manufacture some pressure there. But I think they're going to be better on the back end, and that's the other part of pass defense in the NFL is coverage. With Morris Claiborne having the best offseason he's had, he's healthy. Orlando Scandrick is going to be back in the lineup. He brings a swagger to the defensive side of the ball. And Byron Jones gets to play safety all season long instead of going back and forth between corner and safety. So I think the back end kind of holds down the fort a little bit at the beginning of the season until DeMarcus Lawrence gets back. And once that happens, I think this defense could surprise a few people. I think they're going to be much better than people anticipated looking back at 2015 and what they had to deal with.
Fox analyst, three-time Super Bowl champion Daryl Johnston here on the Rich Eisen Show. What do you make of the Chargers-Bosa situation? What's your 2 cents on that subject?
I'm always going to side with the player. To me, it's kind of strange that we're having a contract holdout right now. We've got a rookie wage scale. We've got a number set from last year's number 3 overall. We've got parameters set from this year's number 2, number 4. So obviously it's something within the contract. Sounds like guaranteed money. Joey Bosa is going to have a couple opportunities to control his financial future. One of them is the one he's earned by being the number 3 pick in the draft. He's got to make sure he gets that contract right, and then hopefully he gets another shot at it in his first free agent contract. But if you don't give the guy enough money up front compared to the number 2 and the number 4 behind you, then it's not in his best interest to sign that contract. And San Diego has a history going all the way back to the Eli Manning situation where Archie was very adamant about his son not being a part of that organization. So they've got a stigma there, and I think that they come out on the wrong side of this one again.
Well, what about the idea that Bosa shouldn't dilly-dally any longer, that if it is just a deal of saying you get $14 million this year or 13 and change this year and you get four and change next year, what's the big deal? I mean, just get in camp, Daryl. What about that concept?
Yeah. Well, the numbers have to be right for him. I mean, like I said, you got 2 chances to do it, and for some reason there's some verbiage in the contract. There's something there that he's not happy with. I don't have all the facts on this one. I don't have everything. But for us to have a contract holdout and the way that contracts are done today is very strange. I mean, we haven't talked about this. Everything should be slotted. Everything should be easy. He may not have gotten signed early on because we didn't have 2 or 4 done yet. But once 2 and 4 get done and that contract is slotted, it's very easy to figure out the details. And you can't say one side should cave as opposed to the other. It's got to be a mutual agreement to get to the point where it's a finished product.
How do you think players will, veterans or rookies alike, will handle the fact that the Chargers publicly shamed this kid? Daryl, how do you think that's going to play out?
That's going to be another interesting thing as they move forward. As we talked about before with the Eli Manning situation, there's a stigma with the front office at San Diego. Anyways, this is an important year for the franchise. With the talk about a new stadium or a move, there was a lot of excitement when they drafted Joey Bosa 3rd overall. And this situation has taken all that energy and all that excitement and kind of thrown it out the window. The reaction to the players, I think, is going to be interesting because we haven't had this in so long. It used to be commonplace back when we were playing because the parameters weren't, as set definite as they are today. And we had a lot of guys, especially that second contract, coming back in trying to negotiate that second contract, miss time. So I think it's going to be interesting. But with some of the issues that have happened in San Diego, Phillip Rivers, had a difficult time getting his contract done. So maybe there's some understanding that the organization is tough to deal with, and there'll be empathy for what Joey Bosa is doing.
Last one for you. Tell me about Ticket IQ, who you're hooked up with here. What's this about?
Yeah, it's a great spot to get your tickets for games, shows, theater productions. They've got the largest inventory in the industry, 90% of your secondary ticket markets. They were a B2B business company to start, so they've built great relationships with companies over the last 6 years. Low price guarantee. There's a lot of places to go out and get your tickets for events today, but this one, to me, eliminates all the competition. This is the only place you have to go. They have deals with teams, the NFL exchange, the NBA exchange. They're working with good vendors. You don't have to worry about fraud with a counterfeit ticket. So this takes all the hesitation out of doing the secondary ticket market or getting your tickets to these big events. And the app that they have with it is one of the more unique things, I think. They're calling it Tinder for tickets. You're going to get alerts if you like it. Swipe to the right. It's going to start to follow the things that you are interested in, and you'll get real-time information, real-time data that'll be streamed to your device. So when I landed in New York last night, Rich, I get off the plane, I turn on Ticket IQ app, and I've got a Bruce Springsteen show, a Jimmy Buffett show. that are all right here in the area if I want to go to them. So I'm hoping I don't miss any more good concerts on the road this fall.
There you go. Come in studio here in Los Angeles when you come here, Daryl.
Absolutely.
You're too much of a stranger on this show. I love having you on.
I know. It's been so long.
It has been.
I do. I need to get in person, too.
Well, I'd love that. But I'd love to get you on, if not right before the season, as soon as it starts. And I'd love to talk to you about so much more of this stuff. Because, I work with Irvin every single Sunday. And I think I get him. By this point in time, known him for almost 15 years, but you're more well versed.
It's like a marriage with Michael, right? You think you know the person, and then he does something, and you're like, I'm not sure.
Take care of yourself. Thanks, Daryl. That's Daryl Moose Johnston here on The Rich Eisen Show.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.